Boston. Oh, Boston. Actually, not the question of the day, by the way. How you doing out there? Hope you're having a great morning if you're watching this when this publishes, or afternoon or night, okay? Boston. Who has raced the Boston Marathon in a Boston iteration? All right, whether it was the Boston 5, the Boston 8, the Boston 2. Who knows? I don't know. All right. Boston 9, I'm yearning for the Boston 9. Who remembers the Adidas? I loved that shoe. Adidas Boston 9. Major change from the Boston 9 to the Boston 10. And now we're in the 11, which I realize is a 2022 shoe, but I still want to keep testing this shoe, testing all the iterations. I know the Boston 12, I don't think it's available yet, but I will link to these shoes down below in the description, also on DeMoor Global Running, and pinching pennies, all right? As soon as that 12 is readily available, the 11 will become cheaper. Actually, it's, I believe, no, I don't believe. It is much, much cheaper, which we'll talk right now, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So here's the deal. There's the drop. Pretty aggressive stack height there for a neutral daily trainer. All right, do a twist test. It's twisting, all right? Not crazy, but it is twisting. And that weight is a little heavy. Actually, it's not a little heavy. It's quite heavy for a daily trainer. Now, who knows? Maybe somebody says, I'll use it for a long run. Use it for a tempo day because it has those rods inside the midsole, which we'll come back to that in a minute. Lightweight mesh through the upper. It's a standard. You know what I struggled with the most on the, well, okay. The scores aren't amazing. The laces are a little thick, a little cumbersome, I would switch out the laces if I were to be testing this shoe again. That's 1 point. And then also on the upper, oh my goodness, this is like old school no, it's not old school. Okay, so other shoes to buy. We'll talk about those in a minute, but man, this heel counter collar is just rough. It's hard. It's just like when you compare it to the 20.3, SL 20.3, the new SL. Finally, the Adidas is putting more comfort and more plushness into their the collar of their shoes, the heel counter of their shoes. This is like a throwback. It's just not comfortable. That's why the score is so rough there for the overall score. All right, there you have it on the upper midsole. I'm a little confused. For me, listen, I just don't know why. You can see the green rods there shining through. That's kind of Adidas's approach to a carbon fiber or nylon plate through their midsoles versus, you know, what Saucony does in the Endorphin Speed lineup. And I'm just a little confused as to why put rods in this shoe when the shoe is so heavy. All right. It, you know, if you're putting in a 12 to 15 mile hard tempo run or hard fartlek run, I just, there's just better options out there for you on the marketplace. So Light Strike and Light Strike Pro felt it. You know what? I will say this much. As you can tell, I don't love the midsole, but it did feel better than the 10. The 10 felt even stiffer, even firmer. Ride and energy return, it's standard, but it did feel better than the Adidas Boston 10, which we all know was a major change from the 9. Grippy outsole, all right, but with a ton of rubber. Probably is one of the reasons why the shoe is coming across as pretty heavy, all right? It will grip, though. I will give it that much. Continental rubber through that outsole, all right? There you go. Fit, comfort. Oh, the comfort. I'm sorry. 5 out of 10. Durability, I will say it'll go the distance. They're not messing around. I think it, you know, and it, you know, some runners, just so you know, I listen to your emails, I read your comments on old vlogs like the Boston 10 vlog, and which I'll link to in the description, is that people have said, listen, I weigh a buck. I weigh a buck 15 when I'm soaking wet. Some runners have said, listen, Seth, I weigh 230, 240, 250, big, strong runners, and they have said they love this shoe. So I always want to mention, I try to mention that, like, sometimes shoes react better depending on how we're built. We're all built differently, all right? So keep that in mind, that I do think the shoe is probably leaning more toward the big, strong runners, all right? So there you have it for the durability prediction. Price point was 160, which is why the score is so low. But now, and this is a little hint as to how this shoe is selling, how people are reacting to the shoe. It's like 60% off, 50%. It's like, there's the price point right now as of the publishing of this vlog, which is about 6 months later after it was released. So that just gives you a hint as to what the sentiment is for the original price, and then maybe they made too many and they have to get them out there into the world at a much cheaper price at this point. Other shoes to buy, I mean, if you want something in a neutral road running daily trainer that can pick up the paces, but a plate in the midsole, just go Endorphin Speed 2 or Speed 3, okay? So there you have it. And I would buy the Boston 9. If you can find it, let me know. SL 20.3 and SL over this shoe. I would 100% buy those 3 shoes from Adidas over this shoe any day of the week. Any day of the week. Shoe quick specs one more time. Soak it in. Light Strike Pro Plus. I should note, sorry about that, Continental Rubber. There you have it. And that full review. Oh, did I mention semi-gusset on the tongue. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Full review score, not even in the 7s, which is never a good sign for a shoe. 6.8 out of 10. All right. I've heard, though, that good news, the Boston 12 is going to be out soon. Stay tuned for that testing. Alexander, thank you for that great comment of the day. Appreciate it. I think that was being pulled from the Boston 10. So thank you, Alexander. Hit pause if you want to read the whole thing. Question of the day: what has been your favorite Boston ever? Well, you know what? Let's say, what has been your favorite Boston shoe ever, or Boston Marathon ever? All right, let's mix it up a little bit in the comments. So your favorite Boston shoe or Boston Marathon ever, whether as a spectator or as a runner. All right, there we'll toss it to the Boston 10. I will say I would buy the Boston 11 over the Boston 10. I'd buy the Boston 9 over the Boston 10 and 11, and we'll see what happens with the Boston 12. All right, everyone, seek beauty, work hard, and love each other. See you tomorrow.